The glittering lights of Hollywood often blind us to the quiet architects who build the cultural landscapes we inhabit every single day, shaping the very fabric of our shared memories and late-night comforts. We invite you to join our community by subscribing to this channel and hitting the notification bell as we dive deep into the untold stories behind the screens, exploring the profound bonds that form when the cameras stop rolling and the true magic of human connection begins. For decades, television has served as a digital fireplace, a place where families and friends gather to witness stories that mirror their own joys, heartbreaks, triumphs, and vulnerabilities. Behind every iconic line, every perfectly timed burst of laughter, and every tear-stained farewell, there is almost always a mastermind whose name remains confined to the rolling credits, yet whose influence alters the course of entertainment history forever. When we look back at the golden eras of broadcasting, we tend to fixate entirely on the faces that graced our television sets, forgetting the visionary mentors who stood just beyond the edge of the frame, guiding raw talent into legendary status. It is a rare phenomenon when a director transcends their technical role to become the beating heart of a production, transforming a simple workspace into an enduring sanctuary of creativity and mutual respect. The loss of such a monumental figure ripples far beyond the confines of a studio lot, sending shockwaves of genuine grief through millions of believers who grew up under the warmth of their creative vision. To truly understand the gravity of a recent farewell that has left the entertainment world reeling, we must first look back at how a generation of storytellers was forged in the fires of early television development. Long before the era of streaming platforms and instant global connectivity, the success of a television program relied entirely on a delicate chemistry, a lightning-in-a-bottle magic that could only be nurtured by someone with immense patience and a profound understanding of human nature. This is the story of an artistic titan who looked at a group of unknown, struggling young actors and did not just see a cast, but a family waiting to be born under his watchful, protective gaze. As the news of his quiet departure in his sleep at the age of 85 began to filter through the industry, it brought an era to a poignant close, prompting an outpouring of love that feels almost too massive to compress into mere words. The world of entertainment suddenly felt a little colder, a little less vibrant, as colleagues and fans alike began to realize that a foundational pillar of modern storytelling had vanished into the shadows of history. Among the countless voices rising to honor this fallen giant, one particularly heartbreaking tribute stood out, capturing the profound sense of personal devastation felt by those who were lucky enough to be called his children. Jennifer Aniston, an actress whose name has become synonymous with global stardom, shattered the digital silence with a deeply emotional message that resonated with anyone who has ever lost a true mentor. Writing a public farewell to someone who essentially served as your compass during the most turbulent, transformative years of your life is an agonizing task, a reality that Aniston acknowledged with painful honesty right from the off. Her tribute arrived on the eve of Father's Day, a timing that added a layer of bittersweet irony to her words as she openly mourned the man she unapologetically described as her ultimate father figure. The actress shared that the hardest part of putting her feelings into writing was the sheer impossibility of translating a lifetime of unconditional love, guidance, and protection into a few brief paragraphs on a social media platform. To her, and to the small circle of actors who shared her extraordinary journey, this legendary director was affectionately known simply as Papa Burrows, a title that carried more weight than any director credit or industry award ever could. This title was not merely a casual nickname thrown around on a noisy set, but a badge of deep reverence earned through years of unwavering support, gentle scoldings, and celebrating every milestone together. Through a carefully curated carousel of rare, behind-the-scenes photographs, Aniston allowed the public a rare glimpse into a private sanctuary of joy, showcasing moments of laughter, exhaustion, and camaraderie spanning decades. These images captured the essence of a bygone era, showing a group of young, wide-eyed individuals huddled around a man whose wisdom seemed completely infinite, a man who anchored them as their world prepared to spin violently out of control. It is impossible to separate the meteoric rise of these iconic performers from the gentle, guiding hand of the man who commanded the director's chair during their most vulnerable formative years. He was the one who saw the potential buried beneath their anxieties, the one who taught them how to breathe through the pressure, and the one who insisted that their bond off-screen would ultimately dictate their success on-screen. As we look closely at the early chapters of this legendary television journey, we begin to see how a single individual's philosophy of kindness and unity laid the groundwork for a cultural phenomenon that still dominates global screens today. The profound emptiness left by his passing serves as a stark reminder of how deeply one human soul can impact the lives of others, leaving an indelible mark that time can never wash away. Through Aniston's emotional recollection, we are invited to step back in time, to an era when the future was completely unwritten and a group of 6 ordinary actors stood on the precipice of a modern myth. The story of their connection to this extraordinary director is not just a chronicle of show business success, but a beautiful testament to the power of mentorship, loyalty, and love in an industry notorious for its fleeting superficiality. As the public continues to absorb the reality of this monumental loss, the memories shared by his closest pupils provide a beacon of warmth, reminding us of the human hearts that beat behind our favorite characters. In the chapters of Hollywood history, few figures have ever commanded such fierce loyalty and deep, protective affection from their cast members. It's a testament to a unique management style rooted entirely in mutual respect. This opening chapter of grief and remembrance is merely the threshold of a much larger, incredibly inspiring narrative about a man who built empires of laughter while keeping his own feet firmly planted on the ground. By examining the initial reactions to his passing, we begin to uncover the immense depth of his legacy. A legacy built not on ego or grandstanding, but on the quiet, daily acts of love that defined his interactions with his artistic family. As we move deeper into the specific memories that Aniston and her peers have cherished for over 30 years, we find ourselves uncovering a masterclass in human connection that transcends television altogether. The magical chemistry that defined the golden age of situational comedy did not happen by accident, nor was it merely the result of casting directors finding the right faces. It was meticulously engineered by a master craftsman who understood the mechanics of human laughter and the fragility of young egos. James Burrows was already a titan of the television industry when he signed on to direct the pilot episode of a fledgling series about 6 20-somethings navigating life and love in New York City. Having already left an indelible mark on broadcasting history by guiding legendary shows like Cheers and Will and Grace, Burrows possessed an unparalleled radar for talent and an innate understanding of network television dynamics. When he stepped onto the set of Friends in the late summer of 1994, he brought with him a stellar reputation, a booming laugh, and a protective instinct that would forever alter the destinies of his 6 young charges. Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, David Schwimmer, Matt LeBlanc, and the late brilliant Matthew Perry were, at that precise moment in history, completely unaware of the tidal wave of fame that was about to crash over their lives. They were struggling actors, accustomed to rejection, hoping against hope that this pilot would simply get picked up for a full season so they could pay their rent and sustain their artistic dreams. Burrows, however, looked at them through a lens of profound experience and recognized instantly that he was holding lightning in a bottle, realizing that the test audience ratings were completely through the roof. On his many reflections, including a memorable appearance on the Conan Needs a Friend podcast, the legendary director recalled sensing immediately that the audience reaction to these specific characters was unlike anything he had witnessed in his decades on studio lots. He knew the show was going to be an absolute juggernaut, a cultural phenomenon that would dismantle their privacy forever, and he felt a deep paternal obligation to prepare his kids for the psychological onslaught of instant global fame. In an act of extraordinary generosity and foresight that has since become a legendary piece of Hollywood folklore, Burrows decided to treat the entire young cast to a lavish getaway in Las Vegas just weeks before the show premiered in September of 1994. The explicit purpose of this trip was both beautiful and poignant. He wanted to give these 6 unknown individuals one final, glorious taste of absolute anonymity before their faces were plastered on billboards across the globe. To immortalize the beginning of this lifelong bond, Aniston recently shared a priceless, rarely seen photograph taken aboard that private flight to Nevada, capturing a moment of pure, unadulterated innocence. In the photograph, the cast members are huddled together, radiating a mix of nervous excitement and youthful energy, completely oblivious to the fact that their lives were changing with every mile flown. Upon arriving in Las Vegas, Burrows took his young ensemble to a highly visible, incredibly fancy dinner at Spago, located inside the bustling heart of Caesar's Palace. An experience that left the young actors feeling immensely sophisticated and pampered. Aniston would later reminisce about this dinner during an interview on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, recalling how they sat there thinking they were the height of luxury, entirely unaware of the serious lecture their director was about to deliver. As they sat surrounding their beloved mentor at the center table, Burrows looked around at their eager faces and delivered a prophetic speech that would serve as their emotional anchor for the next 10 years and beyond. He looked them dead in the eye and warned them that the world they were about to enter could be incredibly dark, fiercely competitive, and isolating if they allowed ego to fracture their unity. He told them that they had to stick together, fiercely protect one another, look out for each other's well-being, and never let the industry tear their bond apart. A piece of advice that the cast took deeply to heart. To punctuate this unforgettable lesson, Burrows reached into his pocket, handed each of the 6 actors a couple of $100 in cash, and told them to go out onto the casino floor and gamble to their heart's content. He told them, with an air of absolute certainty, that this was the absolute last time in their entire lives that they would ever be able to walk into a public casino completely anonymously without being mobbed by thousands of adoring fans. At the time, the young actors had absolutely no clue what their director was talking about, laughing off his grand predictions as the eccentricities of a veteran showman who was overly enthusiastic about his latest project. Sure enough, within days of the pilot episode airing on network television, Burrows' prophecy came true with terrifying precision, and none of those 6 individuals would ever walk through a public space unrecognized again. The bonds forged during that magical weekend in Las Vegas became the bedrock of their historic run, establishing a culture of mutual respect and financial solidarity that became unprecedented in the entertainment industry. Burrows continued to direct the first several episodes of the series, meticulously setting the visual tone, the rapid-fire comedic pacing, and the deeply collaborative atmosphere that defined the show's identity. He created a workspace where the actors felt entirely safe to take creative risks, to fail, to pitch jokes, and to support one another through the grueling process of recording 24 episodes a year under a microscope. Aniston's tribute beautiful underscores how Burrows completely leveled the playing field, removing any sense of hierarchy by treating them all as his equal, cherished children. He would constantly call out across the noisy studio lot, asking where his kids were, or inviting them to see if the kids could make a specific joke work on camera, a phrase that alleviated the immense pressure cooker of network television. By referring to them consistently as his kids, he infused the commercial workspace with the warmth of a protective family unit, ensuring that they never felt like cogs in a corporate entertainment machine. He spoiled them rotten with his affection, his artistic brilliance, and his unwavering belief in their individual and collective genius, holding them steady through the dizzying heights of superstardom. Yet, as the years rolled on and the show evolved into a global empire, the lessons Papa Burrows taught them at that restaurant table in Las Vegas remained their ultimate North Star. They protected each other during complex contract negotiations, celebrated each other's personal triumphs, and provided a fierce shield against the relentless intrusions of the tabloid media. This culture of absolute unity, taught to them by their director from day one, became their greatest armor, enabling them to survive the chaotic storms of fame that have tragically claimed so many other young talents. When the cast gathered decades later in 2016 to honor James Burrows during an all-star television tribute celebrating his monumental career, the depth of their love was visible to the entire world. Though Matthew Perry was physically absent from that specific reunion due to his commitments rehearsing a theater play in London, his spirit and the collective gratitude of the group radiated from the stage as they surrounded their mentor. The tragedy of Perry's untimely passing in October of 2023 from an accidental overdose of ketamine at the age of 54 had already left a permanent scar on this tight-knit, artistic family, making the loss of their patriarch just a few years later feel like an unbearable double bereavement. The sudden departure of Papa Burrows, who passed away peacefully in his sleep following a brief, undisclosed illness, marks the definitive end of an era for the cast, forcing them to navigate a world without the man who first taught them how to stand together. As the industry processes the monumental loss of an individual who directed over 1,000 episodes of network television, the focus inevitably shifts from his impressive list of accolades to the massive human legacy he left behind in the hearts of those he mentored. The profound sorrow expressed by Aniston is a direct reflection of a man who spent his entire life making people feel profoundly loved, respected, and seen, a rare quality in a town often driven by vanity and transactional relationships. As we prepare to look closer at the final chapters of his extraordinary journey, his surviving family, and the enduring lessons he left behind, we see a portrait of a true Hollywood unicorn whose impact will continue to shape the creative world for generations to come. The true measure of an extraordinary life is not found in the gleaming trophies that line a fireplace mantle or the impressive statistics recorded in historical archives, but in the enduring legacy of kindness, protection, and love that continues to ripple through the lives of those left behind. James Burrows was a titan of the entertainment industry, an individual whose unparalleled creative instincts defined multi-camera comedy for half a century. Yet his most profound achievement was the quiet, unwavering devotion he showed to the human beings behind the famous characters. Beyond the bustling television sets and the roaring laughter of live studio audiences, Burrows cultivated a deeply fulfilling personal life that anchored his immense professional success, proving that one can reach the absolute pinnacle of Hollywood without sacrificing devotion to family. He is survived by his beloved second wife, the accomplished hairstylist Linda Easton, whom he married in the summer of 1997, establishing a beautiful partnership that provided a peaceful sanctuary away from the relentless demands of the entertainment industry. Furthermore, he leaves behind 3 wonderful daughters from his first marriage to Linda Solomon, a chapter of his life that concluded with their divorce in 1993, but left him with a lifelong commitment to being a supportive, deeply involved parent. In her emotional tribute, Jennifer Aniston expressed immense gratitude to Burrows' biological children, noting how incredibly generous they were to share their extraordinary father with a group of young, anxious actors who desperately needed his unique unicorn presence. For Aniston and her co-stars, Burrows seamlessly transitioned from an authoritative director into an indispensable father figure who consistently checked in on their well-being, worried about their struggles, celebrated their personal milestones, and guided them through the labyrinth of global celebrity. He was the sturdy anchor that held them steady through the absolute hardest of times and cheered the loudest during the best of times, creating an atmosphere of total emotional security that allowed their creative talents to flourish completely uninhibited. The foundational lessons he imparted to his artistic kids went far beyond the mechanics of delivering a perfect punchline or hitting a physical mark on a soundstage. He taught them the fundamental importance of loving, respecting, and fiercely protecting one another against an often harsh industry. He instilled a deep-seated philosophy that they must always have each other's backs and support one another no matter what circumstances arose. A golden rule that the cast embraced fully and practiced diligently throughout their decade-long run and the decades of life that followed. This profound sense of collective responsibility and deep-rooted affection became the secret ingredient that made their show an enduring global masterpiece. As the genuine love the actors shared off-screen radiated through television sets into the living rooms of millions of viewers worldwide. As the entertainment community grapples with the immense void left by his quiet departure, Aniston's final words to her beloved Papa Burrows echo the collective heartbreak of an entire generation of performers and television viewers alike. She concluded her deeply moving public farewell by writing that she misses his distinctive voice, his infectious laugh, his profound artistic brilliance, and expressed a beautiful, poignant hope that wherever his soul rests now, someone is fondly asking the familiar question of where the kids are. This simple, recurring phrase, once used to summon a group of unknown actors to a rehearsal stage, has now transformed into a sacred symbol of a golden era of television. A time when a visionary director looked at a disparate group of young people and saw a family waiting to be forged. The journey of James Burrows is an inspiring testament to the power of compassionate leadership, a shining example of how an individual can command absolute respect through gentleness, generosity, and an unwavering belief in the potential of others. His incredible journey from a young man learning the ropes of theatrical production to becoming the most influential television director of modern times is a narrative that will be studied, celebrated, and cherished as long as stories are told on screen. The legendary director's passing reminds us all of the profound impact a true mentor can have on our lives, serving as a beacon of inspiration for how we should lift each other up, protect our communities, and navigate the turbulent waters of our own lives with grace and unity. While the physical presence of Papa Burrows is no longer with us, his monumental spirit remains beautifully alive in every single frame of film he directed, in every burst of laughter he orchestrated, and most importantly, in the unbreakable bonds of the children he raised, protected, and loved so deeply. His legacy is firmly etched into the cultural history of the world, a timeless reminder that behind the glitz, glamour, and fleeting fame of show business It is the authentic human connections, the quiet acts of mentorship, and the enduring strength of love that truly matter in the end. As the final curtain falls on the life of this extraordinary television pioneer, the world says a quiet, deeply grateful goodbye to a man who didn't just teach his actors how to make a joke work, but taught them how to look after one another in a beautiful, unpredictable world.